Good evening. I'd like to welcome you all, and I would like to call this Wednesday, the August 13th, 2025 meeting of the Lockport Planning and Zoning Commission to order, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you would all rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathy, if we could start with a roll call vote, a roll call attendance, sorry.
Here. Here.
Here. Here.
Here. Here. Here.
Thank you. Is there a motion for the approval of the June 10th, 2025 Plan and Zoning Commission minutes that you should have?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 10th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
Motion by Peters. Second by Garland. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, we will move on to the public hearings. And there is first case. I would ask if there's a motion to open a public hearing for case number 2025-008 for an amendment to a special use permit for a cabinet fabrication business for Lot 12 of Prime Business Park, Style Line Custom Cabinetry.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Garland, second by Calderon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Would staff like to present?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. This is related to case number 2025-008. The applicant, Randy Michaels, who is in the audience tonight to answer questions on behalf of Styleline Custom Cabinetry, has submitted development plans for a building addition for the existing building located in the Prime Business Park, shown on your screen, for the property generally located on Lot 12, which is outlined in red. Styleline Custom Cabinetry is proposing a two-story warehouse addition for the storage of cabinets. The footprint is approximately 7,000 square feet with an upper level. The existing dock and overhead doors will be relocated to the new addition, and no additional overhead doors will be added. The subject property is a 3.8 acre parcel, zoned O2 General Office, and it's located on Prime Boulevard. The applicant is proposing, like I said before, a second addition. This would be following an earlier addition that they did onto the building to the existing custom cabinet fabrication company. Just from a use table standpoint, the furniture, cabinetry, and fixture manufacturing is a specific classification that is identified in the use classification table in our zoning code as a special use within the O2 district, and expansion to a special use requires the public hearing by Plan and Zoning Commission and approval from City Council, which is why we are here tonight. Oh, how did that? Sorry about that. So one of the things that we do with a special use permit is there are findings of fact. The first one is related to the proposed building or use at the particular location requested being necessary and desirable to provide a service or a facility in the public interest and contributes to the general welfare of the neighborhood or community. We find that the existing fabrication company has outgrown their current space and needs the expansion, and that the existing business contributes to positive growth within the community, and that makers of product as opposed to distributors of product are always seen as a positive addition to the city. The second criteria is related to the proposed building or use not having a substantial adverse effect upon the adjacent property, the character of the neighborhood, traffic conditions, utility facilities, and other matters affecting the public health, safety, and general welfare. We find that it will not have an adverse impact on the neighborhood. They are a low intensity operation with minimal traffic and utility impacts We have rarely, if ever, gotten any complaint about noise or activity or anything else at the site, so we feel very comfortable with that fact. The last item is the use at this location will be designed, arranged, and operated to permit the use of adjacent property consistent with the applicable district regulations. There will be no harm caused by this or no preclusion of use of adjacent property. On your screen, you'll see the final site plan. The subject property, the expansion is on top of the original 25,000 square foot building that was approved in 2018. It was expanded in 2022 from 25,000 square feet to 44,000 square feet. This proposed addition is outlined in red and yellow on the screen. It is approximately 7,000 square feet with additional storage on the second floor. That abuts the existing 60-foot wide utility and drainage easement that bisects the property to the east. The existing parking lot will remain similar to the existing layout. The docks will be relocated to face the new addition. The development is in conformance with the requirements of the bulk regulations of the city's zoning code. Access will remain off of Prime Boulevard. The elevations that are on your screen show a project that is pretty much the same as the existing building, same material, same detailing, same type. So it meets all of the requirements that were originally set out. A landscape plan was included. Much of the landscape already exists. There are a couple minor things that extend to the east. Engineering has reviewed the submittal as well and is okay with it proceeding with no comments, and the fire protection district is also okay. There are a couple things related to construction and pre-construction that our engineering group always goes through, but as far as the plans themselves, everything meets our standards. Should the commission find the expansion project acceptable, there is a motion that is suggested, a motion to adopt staff's findings of fact and recommend approval to the City Council for an amendment to the special use permit for expansion of the cabinet fabrication development to include final development plan approval for the property generally located on Lot 12 of Prime Business Park. I'd be happy to take any questions, and the applicant, like I said before, is here to be able to answer any if you have some.
Thank you, Lance. Is there anything that the applicant would like to say in addition to what Lance has presented? If not, that's fine. Okay. You state your name?
Pardon me?
State your name?
David Oxley, 737 McGregor Road, Lockport, Illinois.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We agree with staff's recommendations. We're here to answer any questions that you have.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions on this case? Okay. I would ask if there are any persons from the public that would like to speak on this case or have any questions on this case. Seeing none, I would ask if there is a motion to close the public hearing. Motion by Garland, seconded by Giorgetti. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion amongst commissioners here? If not, I would call the question and ask if there is a motion.
I mean, the only thing that I have is just, you know, if this seems per the packet, this is probably about the last expansion on this plot. So, you know, I don't know, you know, if anyone, if we have the parcel next door, or if you have any future plans, but, it's a good problem to have, so, it is noted in here, this is probably about as much as we can fit on this parcel, though, so, I hope at some point you're, coming to buy an adjacent parcel or something else in town, so, thank you.
Okay, I would call the question and ask if there is a motion to adopt staff's finding of fact and recommend approval to the City Council for an amendment to the special use permit for expansion of the cabinet fabrication development to include final development plan approval for the property generally located on Lot 12 of Prime Business Park.
So moved.
Motion by Calderon.
Second.
Second by Quinn. Kathy, would you take a roll call vote, please?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Glad to have Style Line here and expanding.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. I will move on to our second case, and that will involve a motion to open public hearing for case 2025-009, amendment to Springs at Lockport, land development, preliminary and final development plan review in one step to allow a car wash on Lot 2 of Springs re-subdivision of Lot 2, otherwise known as Mr. Car Wash.
I'll make the motion to open the public hearing.
Okay, motion by Peters,
Second.
second by Quinn. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Lance?
Thank you, Chairman. The applicant, Chris Campbell, on behalf of CWP West, doing business as Mr. Car Wash, is seeking an amendment to the Springs at Lockport Plan Development and Preliminary Final Development Plan Review in one step for a proposed 4,874 square foot standalone commercial building for a car wash development on Lot 2. The subject property is generally located north of 159th Street. It's outlined in red on your screen. It's east of Edelman Road and west of 355. Lot 2 of the Springs at Lockport consists of approximately 1.1 acres. It was originally subdivided in September 2023 by the Continental Group, who were also developing the Springs Apartments, and it was amended in 2025 to accommodate the Wendy's restaurant that will be directly to the west and the Mr. Car Wash development. Plan development allows for commercial development for the outlots that are located along 159th Street, and these lots are zoned C3 Highway Commercial, which is similar to Lockport Square on the south. A car wash facility is classified as a special use permit within the C3 Highway Commercial Zoning District, which is why we are here this evening. This will be addressed with a major amendment to the plan development. Major amendments require approval by the City Council upon recommendation from the Plan and Zoning Commission, including the public hearing that we are having tonight. Notification has been completed by the staff. Similar to the last case, there are findings of fact that are part of this. I won't go through the questions in detail since we just reviewed the same questions. With the first question related to the use being necessary, we find that yes, a car wash facility will provide a convenience to the residential and the office retail community directly to the north and west, in addition to being accessible for motorists on 159th Street, whether or not they are getting on and off 355 or just simply coming through town. It will be accessible via that traffic signal at Edelman Drive, as well as the right-in, right-out that was designed as a part of the Springs development. The second question is related to having a substantial adverse effect on adjacent property. We do not find that there is a adverse effect on the adjacent property. There is sufficient car stacking provided on site, which is typically an issue with a car wash, and a sound study has been performed and a recommendation is being enforced so that there is sufficient blocking of the noise that would be coming out of the tunnel, and then there is sufficient utility capacity. And then the last question is related to it being arranged so that we don't impact adjacent properties. We do not find that new development will be impacted by this project. On your screen, you will see the final site plan. It was submitted and reviewed by staff. The plan illustrates that the development will include the 4874 square foot standalone commercial building with parking lot having 19 vacuum station and parking spaces with menu boards and pay stations on the ingress drive. On your screen, I put black dashed arrows that show the circulation for people pulling in off of Edelman Drive. They will come in, turn to the east, and then turn to the south to come into the queuing area. Once you circulate through the car wash itself, you'll then exit back to the interior road, the private interior road that is to the north. Street access, like I said before, there isn't separate ingress and egress. Those are shown on your screen or on your slides. The gray one is the ingress. The non-gray one is the egress. Sidewalks. A common sidewalk runs east-west along the private interior drive. And then we are also working with, very similar to what we talked about with Wendy's, on a sidewalk that runs along Edelman, and then eventually in the future one that runs along 159th Street to connect Edelman with the right in, right out to the east. As I said before, there are 18 vacuum spaces in the one accessible space, as well as 3 additional spaces. It is assumed that employees will be parking in that. We do not expect somebody to come and hang around the car wash just for fun. So they'll be at a vacuum space. The landscape plan is shown on your screen. The plan is in substantial conformance with our zoning ordinance. There we go. The building elevations are also shown on your screen. They do meet the 60% Class 1 material requirement for each elevation. They are comprised of approximately 69% Class 1 materials that include the face brick, the storefront glass, and the stone. One item that the applicant is going to discuss a little bit more in his presentation is the requirement for some sound walls. Specifically on the egress, there are some additional details that he will go through with that. But in the meantime, I'll show you the remainder of the elevations just so that you can see them. The west elevation is on your screen and on your slide. The east elevation is on the top of the next slide, and the north elevation is bottom left, and the south elevation that faces 159th Street is bottom right. This is a rendered perspective of what the facility will look like during the day and during the night, with the building lighting that is shown on there, as well as some soffit lighting that is on the tower structures. And this is looking at the east facade. It's important to keep in mind that with this site, one of the unique conditions of it, as we find in many places in Lockport, is we actually have topography. And so directly to the east of this site, there is about a 22-foot hill that goes straight up to an adjoining commercial site that will eventually be a part of another commercial development that will come before you at a date to be determined in the future. These are the last 3 images that I have, and then I'll turn it over to our applicant. The one on the left-hand side is the kind of the main tower looking at the entry into the car wash facility. There's also some small office spaces in there as well. The upper right is the exit coming out, and the lower right is the ingress going into the tunnel itself. The one in the upper right-hand corner is probably the one that will be most affected by the sound study, and I'll let Chris go through those items. With that, I will turn it over to Chris, who will go over to the podium and walk through some additional information related to Mr. Car Wash and the plans for it.
Thank you, Lance. Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Chris Campbell, Mr. Car Wash, 222 East 5th Street, Tucson, Arizona. Thanks for having us here this evening. Since Lance did such a great job on his presentation, a lot of the slides you may see that I have are somewhat duplicative, so we'll try to go a little bit quickly here. If you can advance the slide, please. So a little bit about Mr. Car Wash, for those of you that may not be familiar with us. Excuse me. So we're the largest operator of car washes across the country. We're a publicly traded company. We've been in this business since the mid to late 60s. Currently, we have over 500 stores with another 30 estimated to be opened this year. This store in Lockport is our first in Chicagoland. We do have 3 up in Rockford, but we really see this larger region as a growth opportunity for us. So this is the first of hopefully many to come. About 15 years ago, actually I'll have you go back one real quick. About 15 years ago, Mr. Car Wash was one of the first in the industry to unveil what we call our Unlimited Wash Club. If any of you are familiar with kind of express tunnel car washes, you may be familiar with this kind of concept. Basically, it's a subscription service. You pay a monthly fee, usually between $20 and $45 a month, depending on the level of wash that you're looking for, and you can wash your vehicle as often as you want at any of our locations. That any location is important because part of the reason we chose Lockport as a community is the network effect that we're going to grow in the greater Chicagoland area. As I said, it's not just one store. We see 50, 75, 100 store opportunity here. And so when you have all of those stores kind of interconnected as you're traveling through the community, going home, going to work, you can stop into any of those stores. So currently we have 2.1 million Unlimited Wash Club members, and about 70% of the volume at each of our locations is from that Unlimited Wash Club. You can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. One of the things that sets Mr. Car Wash apart from a lot of our competitors is that as a corporate owner-operator of all of these stores, it allows us to exert our own influence on not just kind of the staff and the level of service that we give, but also the products and the equipment that we use. So we're based in Tucson, Arizona. Down there, we have an R&D department that formulates all of our own proprietary chemistry, so all of the cleaning chemistry that goes on the vehicles. We're formulating that specifically for our use. There's no other competitor that can get that. That same team is also able to design, manufacture, and customize certain components of the equipment that's within the tunnel, further allowing us to customize that wash experience that we're looking for our customers, which you may not see in competitors. And then, one more. Go back one. Thank you. One other thing that we do is reclaim our water. So what you see on the screen there is kind of a rough image of a store. Basically what happens is the water that goes onto the vehicle, as it drips off, it goes into a trench drain in the center of the tunnel there. That all flows into a series of 3 settlement tanks where large solids are settled out of that water. We reclaim about 50% of the water that we're going to use in the wash from that 3rd tank. We run it through some equipment within the mechanical room to balance the pH and break down any bacteria that might be in there. We reapply it to the vehicle in strategic locations, and then again that cycle continues. Anything that isn't reclaimed continues through that 3rd tank into the municipal system. Thank you. So why Lockport? As I said, this is our first store in kind of a larger plan for the greater Chicagoland area. Specifically, the community, we recognize that it serves a larger regional trade area, bringing in customers from outside just the city limits. As I said, complementing the network. And then it's also a community with strong population and population growth and kind of economic vitality. I won't go too much into the site plan. I think Lance did a good job with that, but I will take you through the next slide, or one more. Perfect, right there. So I'd like to just kind of drive you through the site as if you were a customer and experiencing it. So when you enter the property, you'll see that we have a dedicated point of sale lane on the right side of the screen there. So you would enter that lane. You're going to drive up to our point of sale station. We have 3 lanes there. The leftmost lane is our retail customers, and then the 2 lanes on the right are for our Unlimited Wash Club members. If you're an Unlimited Wash Club member, you'll pull up to one of those lanes on the right. Your vehicle will have an RFID sticker on it. There's a RFID reader. It reads that sticker, automatically lifts the gate, and you'll continue on through. If you're a retail customer, As you pull up, you're going to be greeted by one of our customer service associates there. They're going to give you a friendly way or friendly smile, little wave there. They'll help you out with your transaction, and then you'll continue through the point of sale. You would wrap around the north there. You're going to come into the tunnel where you'll be guided on by, again, another one of our customer service employees. Once they guide you onto the conveyor, that's going to, they'll hit the button, they'll send you on through. It's about 90 seconds or so for you to get through the tunnel. When you exit the tunnel, you're going to come to a decision point there. You can either make a left, go back into the site and use one of the 18 vacuum stations, or you can make a right and exit the site. If you can go to the next slide. I'm going to skip this one. Lance showed some architecture. Again, just some elevations of the POS canopy. One other thing that we do is, if you've been to a Chick-fil-A, you may be familiar with how they have kind of the little tent for their employees as they're taking your order. If it gets cold, they can go in there. We just build a hard structure attendant hut, so our employees, if it's a really hot day, cold in the winter, they can get out of those elements. So that's what you see on the left there. High quality materials, brick, stone, stucco, glazing throughout, and we meet that 60% requirement. So sound, let's talk about sound, because it's a thing with car washes. We can't get away from it. What you see on the left is the results of a sound study that we had completed. The way that study is completed is our consultant comes out, they place receptors on the site, typically 2. Those are measuring ambient sound levels within the area. They take that information, they put it into their computer program, they use data that they've gathered from existing Mr. Car Wash stores and extrapolate what you see on your left. The light blue line there is the limits of the 60 decibels. So if we do nothing, if we put no sound walls up, we just operate as normal, you'll notice that 60 decibel requirement that would be at the property line is, extends to the neighbors to the north. So our consultant comes to us and says, in order to mitigate that, you need X. In this case, what they've recommended is a 12-foot sound wall at the exit of the tunnel, so that'll be on the right side of the site, and a 6-foot sound wall on the left side of the site between the vacuums, basically between the 2 driveways. Now, you may notice that even when we do that, so that's the image on the right, showing with the 2 sound walls, there's still a little sliver that continues north. The challenge that we have with this site is the grade across the site, and what we've had to do to provide ADA access is actually put a break in that sound wall. So that's what you're seeing there, is that sound that's going through that ADA break. We're still exploring to see if there's somewhere else that we can move that ADA access on the site, but we're having issues with our cross slopes, we're having issues with the degree of slope coming up if we move it too far west, so it's been a challenge. So where we've landed is, again, the 12-foot wall with that break. If you go to the next slide. One thing that was brought up to us by staff recently was a concern over the vision triangle, or the sight line triangle at that driveway entrance, or driveway exit rather. So what you see on the left is the sound wall location. It's currently about 17 feet off of the curb at the road. We are able to work with our engineering team, adjust this a little bit. We're able to pull those walls in about 4 to 6 feet approximately. So we will open up that vision line a little bit. So that's what you're seeing on the right, is kind of those walls pulled in approximately 4 to 6 feet. This is a rendering of what it would look like in the current location at 17 feet. As I said, we're still going to pull that in a little bit more, so this is going to get even better. And then these are just a couple of renderings. This first one, actually, if you can go to the next slide. It's at night, but here you can see those 2 walls. So on the left-hand side of the screen, that's the sound wall with that break, and then the 6-foot wall on the right-hand side. And then Lance, you can just kind of flip through the next couple. and then if you stop there, again, just another angle of that sound wall. You'll notice that we've used the same materials that are on the building, stone, brick, etc., and then you have that break. That's all that I have for you. We have a member of our operations team here with me tonight, as well as our civil engineer. I'm available as well as they are if there are any questions. Thank you.
We just have one additional slide on there, which would be our staff recommendation. There are two components to the staff recommendation. The first one is to adopt staff's findings and recommend approval of the amendment. And then the second one is to recommend approval of the final development plans for the project. With that, we'll take any questions, staff or the applicant.
Thank you, Lance. Commissioners, questions?
I have two. One, I just thought of something, just looking at that, the way the sound projected out through that ADA gap. Was anything explored, and it might be too just intensive, but maybe like a header wall and then just have an opening that would be a pass-through? Would that potentially mitigate some more of that projection towards, the Springs, right? That's the name of the apartment complex that's going up there. I guess that's just more of a question, maybe that if that was explored or not. And then what are the hours of operation? Like for someone that is, say, a member, can they go there 24/7, or is there just hours of operations?
Yeah, so the store is only open and operable when we are staffing it.
Oh,
That
okay.
includes the vacuum areas. Those are shut down when the business is closed. Typical hours of operation are going to be between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Those will fluctuate based on the day of the week as well as the time of the year.
Good. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. To the header wall, no, I don't believe we've looked into that. I did make a note about that for us to explore. I will also,
Needed a bit. That's all.
yeah, and I will also note that we are always actively exploring additional resources to reduce that sound. We're testing out things at various stores across the country, and so specifically in this case, if we identify some of those things, we'll absolutely implement them here.
So you said 8 p.m. is pretty much about when your stores close down?
Typically, yes.
Okay. So it's not 10, 11, 12 at night?
No. So what's unique about car washes is they are not a destination business unto themselves, meaning people don't leave their house and say, I'm going to the car wash. Most people don't. You're already out doing, right? Maybe on a nice Saturday day you do, but typically you're out doing your regular shopping, your grocery run, your Target, Walmart run, you're going out to dinner. You see, hey, you know what? We're by the car wash. Let's pop in and get the car washed. You're coming home from work. You're going to work. After 8 p.m., people are winding down their nights. They're back home, so there's just not a lot of demand for us. So we typically close by 8.
Okay. And Lance, my only other question related to signage. I assume staff has reviewed signage and it is within Lockport signage ordinances?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Overall, I like the plan. I see that there's only 3 parking spaces for employees. Do you only anticipate having 3 employees on it at one time, or?
No, so we typically have 3 to 5 employees
Okay.
on. Starts out 2 to 3 in the morning. As we escalate throughout the day, that'll get up to about 5 or so at its peak and then start to fall off. Typically what we do is when those 3 employee stalls are occupied, employees will just park in the vacuum stalls.
Okay. The other thing I had was the sign on the side of the building that says free vacuums.
Mm-hmm.
Is that necessary? I mean, I think it looks a little tacky.
Yeah,
but-
so it's still under discussion internally. Staff brought that up as well. Our thinking was we'll get approval for it, or let's attempt to get approval for it. In practice, I don't know that we're going to put it up because it faces, for lack of a better term, Mount Lockport. So, you've got that big hill there, and so I don't know that it will actually go forward with it, but we wanted the optionality.
Just some additional context for you. Their original proposal had a monument sign very similar to what Wendy's had. But because of the grade, the monument sign was actually 6 to 8 feet below 159th Street. And so their initial request was to go through a variance as a part of this process to raise that up to 15-ish feet,
About
somewhere in there. We asked them to evaluate whether or not they could just simply use the tower element on the building as opposed to putting another taller sign that creates somewhat of a precedent. Certainly there are some special situations related to the grade on this particular site, but rather than having one tower sign, one monument sign up here, all that kind of stuff, we felt it might be more appropriate because we do allow for a secondary monument sign so long as it's not 6 foot or taller than 6 feet on an outlot. We do allow for that, and so that was a suggestion to take it to the north. Whether or not they choose to do that would obviously be up to you as a planning commission, but also to the applicant's needs as well. We figured rather than having a blank wall of 2 blank walls, one 12-foot tall and one 6-foot tall, there might be an opportunity to utilize that space. Now, the sign could be smaller if that was something that would be suggested, but certainly that's for your consideration.
Hey, Lance, I guess my question is less for the applicant than just for internally. So the remaining lot to the east would be, it says 0.78 acres, buildable, probably less than that because of the grading. Do we have anything proposed there, and are the developers and potential tenants for that aware of this plan as we're kind of walking through those discussions?
Yeah, the same owner owns all the outlots
Yeah.
all the way on 159th Street, so he is making everybody aware and coordinating all the different lot needs based on the particular users that are coming to him.
Excellent. And then I just wanted to confirm, I couldn't find it, the exit to the east behind the outlots, that's going to be a right-in, right-out onto 159th, correct?
You are correct.
Okay, so if people are coming off the highway, they can enter there, come in through the back way, go
Yes.
to the car wash, and then exit at the stoplight.
Yep.
Okay.
Eventually, hopefully in the future, our goal is to have a traffic signal that would be at the major connection with Lockport Square, but we're years down the road before we get to that. And so having the right-in, right-out and IDOT being willing to allow the right-in, right-out gave us that eastern access point as well as then the western access at Edelman.
Excellent. I'm trying to, which entrance would that align with? The Chipotle open bottle?
It's the main entrance, like
the
the
main one,
giant 4-lane
yeah.
exiting. It already has, Lockport Square built that
Yep.
egress to match what a traffic signal will require. And 159th Street is also all designed to have all the turn lanes needed. That's why there's a giant striped area when you're going westbound on 159th Street. It would just be a matter of whoever ultimately ends up purchasing the north leg of that intersection. That would become the starting point for that. It will obviously require somebody to leverage the rest of the property behind there in order to justify buying a property for a road.
Cool. Thank you.
I just have one question. Coming out of the car wash exit, you have, look like 12-foot walls on both sides of you, and you show the pictures for traffic coming in and out, but you're gonna have traffic coming from the vacuum side as well. And it's hard for me to tell how much vision you'll have looking down the vacuum side. Have you done this design before with two 12-foot walls on both sides as they pull out?
So I don't know that it's been 12-foot walls. We have done double tunnel walls, or like a double wall like that exiting the tunnel. That isn't uncommon. We've had other situations where we'll put a trash enclosure is kind of at the end there. We haven't had any issues with traffic, buildup or conflicts or anything like that.
Perfect. Thank you.
And Joe, on the one site plan, it does say that there's a stop sign there as well for exiting the vacuums. Is that correct? It looks like 2-foot stop bar and stop sign. So people exiting the vacuums will be required to stop before to kind of yield to people exiting the car wash. Is that the point behind that?
Let me double check the plans here. This is not my project. My team member that normally works on this project is at a golf event this week, so I'm filling in. Yes, so that stop sign that you're referencing is to exit onto the private drive, I think Continental Drive. That is not to come out of the tunnel.
Okay.
If you wanted one, we could certainly explore that. But that's naturally a
Okay.
kind of stopping point for people.
Okay. So it's up here.
I'm sure we'll find out within the first 2 months whether or not a stop sign would be beneficial.
And
Fortunately,
trust
it's
us, with as I said, we have 500 stores plus across the country. Vehicles, pedestrians, all mixing. We're really hyper conscious of making sure that sites are easy to navigate, that they're safe for our customers and the general public. So, to Lance's point, if it's an issue, we'll put up a sign.
If there is somebody falls down in the middle of the exit lanes and there's a commotion and traffic gets backed up coming out of the tunnel, somebody's hitting the stop and stopping the cars going through the tunnel, correct? So
there's actually systems in place that will automatically stop that. If a car, it's less, I think, if something happens outside of the tunnel, but within the tunnel, if a car jumps a track for some reason, maybe somebody pulls the steering wheel and whatnot. The system is identifying the vehicle as you come in, and it's kind of watching you move through the wash. So if it senses, hey, this vehicle in front of me is not moving, it's going to automatically shut that down, allow our staff to correct what's going on, and then the staff has to manually restart that system.
very good. Okay, commissioners, I'm going to open this up to the general public. I don't see too many people out there. Any questions from the general public? Having seen none, I would ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Garland,
I'll second that.
second by Meachik. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Is there any other further discussion here on this project before I call the question? And I'm just going to break this up into two motions. That's okay? Everybody good? Good. Okay. Is there a motion, first motion, to adopt staff's findings and recommend approval of an amendment to the Springs at Lockport plan development to allow a car wash facility?
So moved.
Motion by Quinn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Garland. All in favor, I would ask for a roll call vote. Kathy, sorry.
Quinn,
Yes.
Calderon,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Lycan,
Yes,
Lycett,
Yes.
Garland,
Yes.
Georgette,
Yes.
motion passes.
thank you. Okay, now I would ask if there is a motion to recommend approval of the final development plans for the Mr. Car Wash development.
So moved.
Motion by Quinn,
Second.
second by Georgette. Roll call vote.
You got it.
Kathy.
Quinn,
Yes.
Calderon,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Lycan,
Yes?
Lycett,
Yes.
Garland,
Yes.
Georgette,
Yes.
motion passes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Car Wash. Look forward to washing my car there.
They get free washes out of it?
We, Very good. And we do have great staff here. Yep. Okay. We got through the tough stuff here. No more public hearings. We do not appear to have anything under new business. We do not have anything under old business. Chairman does not have a report. Commissioners, do you have anything? Hearing none. Anything from staff?
I will just let everybody know that the Greater Downtown Master Plan has continued apace. We're wrapping up our stakeholder interviews this week. We have a couple via phone. The rest of them were done in person. We will be at the car show on Monday night. We'll have a booth that's in the west parking lot at City Hall. We'd love for the general public and obviously any commissioners and anybody else that you would like to suggest to come out and give their thoughts. The other thing I'll offer is for the general public as well as our commissioners, we do have a website up and running that is accepting both comments, but also allows you the opportunity to put a pin on a map and add a comment to a very specific location. We've had some that ask for a stop sign at this location. We've had others that say that, this is a great development site, would love to see X, Y, or Z at this location. So all of those things are perfectly acceptable to be able to post up there. It is https://greater downtownlockport.com. If you type in www, it will also likely take you there as well. Some firewalls tend to prefer the HTTPS symbology. That's all I have.
Very good. Look forward to that.
Mr. Chairman, just a note
Yes,
of order. I saw you go through new business, old business. I don't know if you touched on citizens to be heard. I just wanted to make sure the young lady in the audience was not here on a non-agenda item. Okay, just want to make sure.
Thank you, Mike. I passed right over that. Apologize. Well, with nothing else here, I would ask if there is a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Garland,
Second.
second by Quinn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Motion passes. We are adjourned. Kathy, how do we do?
Great job with the setup. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.